I have good news, people. The Birdie brand is going to relaunch an electric version of the bike. This is something they had done more than a decade ago and it did not work. In this video, I'm going to dig into the details based on what we know about the new electric Birdie of 2026, and I'm going to compare it to what Brompton is offering and the only relatively compact e-bike Riese und Müller is still selling on the market, which is the Tinker. There are good and bad things about this bike. This is what it looks like, and what these companies do is Pacific, that manufactures or partly hand builds the Birdie models, is not a specialist in e-bike or electric propulsion systems. So what they do is they get on the market and they look for a company that has a kit they can adopt. And then they just install the kit. And the first thing I noticed right away was that this thing looks like a can, like a Coca-Cola or beer can that was thrown in there by a homeless person who is collecting cans to make a living. It's really out of place. It looks quite horrible, actually. But on the other hand, I'm glad that there is an electric Birdie returning to the market. Birdie was first to jump into this a number of years ago. What they did was they also purchased the kit. They installed the kit in the rear. It was kind of bulky, plus the company went out of business, and a big bulky battery was hung on the handlebar, and that really did not work. It moved the center of gravity way up so as to destabilize the bike, which already has a much shorter wheelbase than either the Brompton or the Moulton. So that went out the window, and for a long time Birdie did not try to do an electric version under Riese und Müller. As I mentioned earlier in other videos, Riese und Müller is no longer behind the Birdie brand. It is now exclusively owned by Pacifica or Pacific Cycles, as you see, and that is a good thing but a bad thing. Basically, Riese und Müller is focusing on larger electric bikes. Their entire lineup is electric, almost entirely based on the Bosch system, but I will get into that later. What this thing is a very small hub. The one you see in my book described, the one I am using, weighs 8 pounds, but it can exert as much as 800 watts of power because of the restrictions coming from the manufacturing company. I have only been able to push the new controller to 650 watts, which is still massive compared to what you get here, which is the standard 250. That's the same you are getting from the Brompton, and just like with the Brompton, it is powered from the rear in the hub. Now, in the case of the Birdie, you really don't have any other choice. You cannot power the front because the front has a unique suspension that would be ripped to pieces the first time you try to accelerate and introduce power to pull the bike forward rather than to push it from behind. So you can only install a motor in the rear, or you can do a center drive, which is, I guess, probably what I would have done, but definitely not with the Bosch. The Bosch is a very heavy system. It's not meant for a folding bike. If you're interested in the specs, the frame is the standard monocoque frame with a little bit of a change here. And you can see that this is where they slip in the standard battery, a very small battery pack. So when you go on a longer ride, you probably want to carry several of these. The problem I have with this is they could have put some extra effort and money into custom designing a triangular battery pack that fits right in here. They did not do that, so it looks kind of out of place. It really looks like a can, some kind of a beer can or a water bottle, I guess. That's what it's trying to mimic. That is placed in an awkward way in the frame. The weight distribution is quite good because this is kind of a lower way of placing a battery. Maybe a tiny bit lower than the Brompton is doing it, because the Brompton is putting it into a bag that is attached here. I mean, it's almost the same really, but the weight is shifted too far to the back. With the Brompton, at least the battery is in the bag and you have a much healthier distribution of weight, and the frame itself is a longer frame. There is a smartphone app that gives you a lot of unnecessary junk, which I don't really care for. What I want is to be able to manipulate things on board as I ride without having to use electronics, just using the computer directly. Especially I want to adjust the power available and quite possibly the regeneration. Unfortunately, there is no regeneration here, and that's a real big problem. I do not like that part. Here is a footage about the bike. It's a standard birdie with just a kit attached into the back. That's all it is. There is no brake regeneration. There is no electronic braking. And that is a huge issue for me, because what's the point of using a hub motor, which is heavier than some of the lightest either friction drives or center drives that you could buy in the form of a kit? The point of having a heavier hub motor is to be able to stop the bike purely electronically, which is something you can do if you follow the Brompton Interceptor build, which I have done, which is available to you from my book, and you can get the book even without paying for it. Here is the company that makes the kit the Birdie is installing. It is called Mal or Mali. It is a Spanish company. They make a center drive which is heavy and it is not meant for a folding bike, but they are making this lightweight thing as well. And as you can see, the original idea was to have a water bottle looking battery cage, which is quite typical for many kits and looks okay on a big bike. It just does not look okay on a smaller bike like the Birdie. The torque is 45 Newton meters. The weight is only 4 pounds. My massive up to 800 watt green hub motor is much more powerful, but it also weighs twice as much. I have a weight of 8 pounds to deal with. The truth is, if you're going to use a hub motor, whereas a friction drive or even some of the center drives could have gone down even lower. You could have gone down to 3 or even 2 pounds. So I'm not crazy about having to lug around an 8-pound motor, but the power I get, not just in terms of Newton meters, but also the wattage that I can crank it up to 650 and that I can stop purely on electronic power, that is worth it for me. So I'm not too crazy about the weight savings that you are getting from here. As you can see, the company can miniaturize things. They have made this elongated piece, which is a battery, and I assume the controller is also somewhere in there. Pacific Cycles could have hired this company and paid a little extra money to create a triangular battery pack that would have fit into the Birdie frame precisely. They did not do that, which is quite lazy of them. Otherwise, the hub is very small. It's as small and compact as the average hub gear set. Nobody really notices just by looking at the bike that you have an electric. And this could come in handy because nowadays the state of New Jersey just passed a law to require insurance and registration for all electric bikes, even those that are really just helping you pedal up hills a little bit. They don't really go any faster than any other bike, and that's what this Birdie is. Let's compare this to what you are getting from Brompton. As you can see, Brompton Electric prices are going up. We are now touching $5,000 US. The old steel frame is still available with the steel fork, which is the one I recommend. Get it while you can. Unfortunately, the motor has been moved from the front to the rear, which totally upsets the power balance. In the past, with the first generation electric Brompton, you had a front motor, and the front motor and the battery in the front really moved a lot of the weight in the front the way it should be. You are already sitting toward the back. Most of the weight is already packed in the back. Your hub gear set is also in the back. everything is heavy. So this was a very balanced setup. With what you get currently, it's much worse because the motor itself went to the back, and in the future this steel fork is going to be replaced by a cheaper, I assume, aluminum fork that is ugly and fragile and would not be able to even control a powered hub in the front. So get it while you can. It's not the best, but it's better than what's coming in the future. As I mentioned before, this bike also offers the power but not any electronic braking. The power is the same as the Birdy's, 250 watts. The speed limit has been increased from 15 to 20, which is nice, but I would prefer to not have a speed limiter at all. The battery is still in the bag, and you have a small readout on the handlebar up here. It's not as bad as it used to be, and it seems that the system functions without having a bag that has a built-in electronic component. So what I see here is that you can swap out bags that are non-electric bags. That's a step in the right direction. That was a bad thing with the first generation version, where you literally had the controller and even the computer mounted on top of the bag. So you could not just install any Brompton bag. You had a choice of a smaller or bigger electric bike bags to choose from. So basically 2 choices in only one color, whereas now it seems that the electric components have been migrated away from the bag, so you can put on whatever you want to put. If you want to put a basket to the front, you can do that also. The frame is still the standard frame, but not for much longer. So if you're on the market for an electric folding bike, now is the time to move if you do want a Brompton. Let's look at what Riese und Müller is doing. They decided to get rid of the Birdie because the Birdie is a bike not easily electrifiable, and all of their bikes are running this sophisticated but heavy Bosch system. They decided to build their own not foldable but small wheel compact bike, and that is the Tinker. This model is actually getting better and better in many ways. It now comes with a standard belt drive. It has suspension front and rear. The rear is the suspension seat post, not as sophisticated as the one I describe in my book, not as good as the one I use on my Brompton Interceptor, but it is something, and it's included in the price. Here you can see the belt drive. The Bosch is a very reliable system. It is only 250 watts also, but because you are powering the crank, not the wheel hub, the Newton meters you are getting are up to 75. So a good deal better than what you would be getting either from the Birdie or from the Brompton Electric. The frame is not a classically gorgeous frame, but it's not bad either. It's actually quite attractive. The rear luggage carrier is quite solid. It is well attached, stronger and sturdier than what you would be getting from any of those folding bikes. Weight distribution is very good. The battery is pretty far down. The massive center drive that is heavy is also way down, and it is in the center. So this is a great ride to have. And the price is right. It is more expensive than the folding bikes, but not by a long shot. This price point is close to about $6,000 US. So for an extra $1,000, you are getting a whole lot more. Of course, the downside is that it is not quite foldable, so it's not going to be welcome on the train or the bus the same way as a Birdie or as a Brompton would be. As far as getting past the revolving door, you can collapse this seat post down here. You can collapse this front part also, and you can remove the wheel and stand the bike up on the rear wheel, and that's going to get you in most revolving doors. You can put it into elevators, you can get on the escalator. So it is quite compact, but public transportation is going to be a problem in many cases because this is not a folding bike and it's not legally considered to be one. Also, the tires are great. They come standard with the Big Bend 2.5-inch wide tires. However, many public transit systems classify the maximum size to be 2 inches wide, so this would not legally fit. In general, you would be just kicked off of any bus and off of many trains as well, unless you're on the weekends or off hours when even a full-sized bike would be welcome. I would say the Tinker is the best choice here because of the power and the comfort you have. It is a massive bike. It has 20-inch wheels, the biggest, fattest tires. It is also very heavy. You're looking at over 50 pounds. But if you are not using it in conjunction with public transport, you want to commute, especially longer distance, you just want to get into the elevator at work or getting past the revolving doors, make sure to take measurements before you buy this bike if you do have a revolving door or elevator or anything like that. But I think this is going to work better than a folding bike. If you are going to get a bike to use with public transit, then I think the Birdy is superior to the Brompton in so many ways. Yes, it is a little bit bulkier, but having owned a Birdy and used it for commuting, I can tell you, you can get on the public transit with it. It's legal. You can get into the revolving door and you get so much better performance, much wider tires. You can go up to 2 inches. You have genuine hydraulic disc brakes, which is a huge problem with the Brompton. I really don't know what Brompton is thinking, releasing heavy electric bikes that do not have electronic braking, still with the old-fashioned caliper brakes from the 70s. This must be a joke. So I'm definitely voting for Birdy if you want an electric ready-made so you don't have to build it. Of course, the very best thing you can get is to get either of these frames that you like and follow my advice in the book, Electrify It Yourself. You're going to get something a little heavier but way more powerful with electronic braking, which in my experience offsets all of the problems with the old-fashioned braking systems of the Brompton. So that's my advice. Let me know what you think below, and I will see you in the next video.
I'll be back.